MUI is major unusual incidents. We're in the provider support department. So, we're there to look at incidents, develop cause and contributing factors, and then work with the team on prevention. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We go by the DODD rule. There's a state rule that goes over the criteria for MUIs, and we just kind of interpret that and then investigate them.
So when we have an unusual incident pop up that is adversely affecting the health and welfare of the individual in question, we're going to go ahead and we're going to instantly call that into the Lucas County Board or the respective county boards MUI department or their on-call unit. If it's after hours, then you just report the name of the individual, if there's any staff involved, any other individuals involved, the description of the incident, if there's any kind of risk to their health, welfare, safety, etc. And usually you'll get the voicemail if they don't pick up right away, and you just give a brief description of it, and then when they call back, you just give them all that information as well.
So when they call in, we determine whether or not it meets criteria, and then there's a lot of different things we do, but I'll stick with one thing. If it's abuse or neglect, then we have to start interviews within 3 days. We coordinate with the provider on that, work on ensuring safety of the individual in the meantime. And then after we do all the interviews and documentation gathering, we talk to the provider and come up with whether or not something is substantiated or unsubstantiated. And then that gets reported to the state.
So once it's in motion and has either been picked up or if it was an after hours call, they'll call either Isaiah or myself back. And then they will ask us for more details from the incident. And once those are given, it'll be determined whether it is actually picked up as an MUI or not picked up as an MUI. And then they send an email, usually to my email address, that gives a description of what was called in and reported. And then at the bottom of the email, it will say incident reports due within 24 hours or within whatever time frame that they give us. And then if there's any other follow-up things that they need. And that could look like we need to see the staff's file that was involved, and you need to make sure all of that is in line. It could look like, hey, we need to schedule an interview with a staff person or the individual themselves about the incident. So then I would help to coordinate that. And then the biggest part of the MUI is the prevention plan. And though they will tell us that it's not about it never happening again, the point of the prevention plan is that we're minimizing the chances of it happening again.
It really depends upon whether or not it was criminal in nature. So if, let's say that there was a neglect, it was an error on the staff's part, they self-reported and said, look, I messed up, this is what happened. Something like that, we substantiate and the state is informed. But really, you improve and you move on, right? If it's criminal in nature, it's a different, thing, because law enforcement might be involved and there might be intent involved. The state does have what's called abuser registry, but that is only for people with criminal intent, and that's handled by the state.
To get provider specific about MUIs too, it can also help that provider either implement a new policy, procedure, whatever system in place to help correct that or remedy that, to be more proactive. So, hey, we don't normally do X, so because of this happened in the past. So many of our policies and procedures have been because of just going through that experience and, those trials and tribulations. And it's just like, man, let's never go through this again. And, then you just learn and then you put those things in place, and there's your point of many of the points of MUIs.
Really the core of the investigative process and the reason why MUI is here is to make the lives of individuals we serve better. I feel like the providers are part of that. When we get involved, it's not about, hey, we got you. I'm not looking to get anybody in trouble. I'm not law enforcement. We really are there to figure out what went wrong and how we can make it better. So doesn't matter what provider we're working with or the circumstances, we just work collaboratively to make things better for individuals.
And I would say also, to add to what Isaiah is saying, that I think staff sometimes view it as, well, now I'm in trouble for this or that. It's not that, but we all have a responsibility, and the same responsibility at the end of the day is the individuals. It's their health, it's their safety, it's making sure they're not being taken advantage of by anybody. And we all, would really love to say we have the best staff and they're all wonderful, but the truth of the matter is sometimes things do fall through the cracks and you just try your best. Lots of people interview really great and then we'll get them into the houses, and through managerial stops and checks, you kind of learn that maybe they're not doing everything the way they're supposed to be doing. And so, we're unfortunately not in the houses with them 24/7. So we're also trusting as an agency that they're doing the things they're supposed to be doing and not the things that they're not supposed to be doing. And so, in those times that maybe they're not doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing, that's what MUI is for. It's a second layer of protection for the individuals.